Hello, you beautiful people. Thank you for joining us on For Pilates' Sake. Today, Veronica and I will be looking at single leg stretch and double leg stretch. Yeah. All right, so we would have already looked at rolling like a ball. So just before we start doing single and double leg stretch, I want you to look at rolling like a ball because this is an important piece. Remember we were saying how this shape is really an important shape in so many other exercises. So I want you to take a look at that and where Veronica's at, and just right from her shoulder girdle all the way to her pelvic girdle, she's in a flexion here. She's using her pinky line to connect her arms into the back of her shoulders. This gets lost a lot in our stomach series. So this shape that Veronica has sitting in rolling like a ball is the shape that we're hoping to have our spine in for the whole stomach series, and the limbs just become an extension from our spine. So we're going to bring Veronica a little bit more forward so that we can show you the transition from rolling like a ball into the stomach series. So from here, she's going to take her hands back behind her. She's going to stand down into her feet, down into her hands. She's going to pick her hips up. Now she's going to gently bring her pelvis back. She's going to keep her legs connected, and then she's going to roll back into her rolling like a ball spine. And there she is with the arms into the back of the shoulders. One leg is in, the other leg is extended out. Okay, so from here we'll do the breath. So she's going to inhale, switch the legs for 2, and then exhale for 2. And she's going to inhale for 2 and exhale for 2. And that's the breath and the pace at which the exercise is done. So now, I'm just going to add in a couple of things here because it kind of gets a little bit lost the purpose of it. I believe, and I think many of us believe, that Joseph Pilates, there was a purpose to why are the hands holding the legs, right? It's not basically just a touch because it's choreography. The hands are holding the leg as the leg gently, nothing aggressive. I see a lot of pushing where the quads then grab, right? So there's a gentle push of the leg into the hands and a drawing of the arm of the leg into the back of the shoulder. A little bit more. Thank you. And now she's going to use her arms to gently assist the flexion of her spine forward. Beautiful. And that's what you want to use the arms for, is to constantly assist in a little bit more flexion of the spine without hanging back there, strengthening of the shoulder girdle, strengthening her psoas muscle of the flexors. So no different than here, quickly, if she took her arms down by her side for 100, remember she was practicing this in the 100? And remember we did it with one leg in, one leg out. Here's your single leg stretch, but in single leg stretch, you get the arms to assist in creating a little bit more flexion.
And this is very much full body. You know, people think Pilates is just about the stomach. It is about everything.
Absolutely. And the legs coming in and out, just a quick talk about that. There's a lot of shove, shove, shove. So if you bring your legs out, if you start switching them to me, you can see a lot of people being more interested in the leg being out.
Oh, I see. Right?
Instead of realizing that both legs are drawing back in. So the leg that's extended out, there's a feeling of it pulling back in like we did in the 100 with the roller. And then this leg here that Veronica's bending in, just play with it. It's not about creasing at the hip joint so readily, especially if you already do. We can also find that the leg sits down in the hip joint, which helps to also square your pelvis off, because this can get unsquare and then get SI joint issues.
Yeah, kind of nasty because they rock.
Yeah, and then they rock. So both legs are equally working, and you want to see the mechanics of the legs happening, the movement happening in the hip joint, and not just throwing the legs out.
Yeah, and I want to add something to that this is another opportunity for us to find hip extension, the overworking of rectus femoris. So often I see, I mean, I guess you could do that, but honestly, you're fairly safe in your low back because
100%
you are. Because you're holding your legs here. So take the opportunity. It's called single leg stretch. And I think it's because this hip flexor needs to have as much elongation as this one has seated into the back of the hip socket. So it's a fairly safe place to find that. So when people are kicking up here, they have now lost the hip extension, which is, you know, glutes and hamstrings, and that elongation that we need for like single leg circle, where people are always, oh, I can't quite open up my hip because I don't have my hip extensors, and then we get the clunking. So if you can resist the straightening of your knee and maybe resist the bending of your knee, that's a great way of moving from the girdle as opposed to the knee joint.
Awesome.
It's like, I don't know, about second, third in command.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
now we have double leg stretch.
We have double leg stretch. Really, double leg stretch is just single leg stretch slightly more advanced.
Right.
Not much more, but slightly more. So Veronica was talking about how keeping one leg in is what supports the stretch of the leg out. So absolutely use that and go for the full extension of the hip joint, because now you don't have the lever of the one leg holding you back. Now both legs are going out. So now this is where you have to be a little bit more cautious. Not even how much you extend the hip joint, because I believe it's a necessary.
Yeah.
It's a necessary there, right?
Actually, it's not extending the hip joint that gets people into their SI joint.
Yeah.
Right? So if they don't allow the hip to fully extend, they kind of put the brakes on it, and oh, my low back is doing it.
Yeah.
So that's where the 100 is so important.
It's almost like the body gets confused a little bit about what is it that we're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Totally.
let's come down.
Yeah.
So same shape, all the stomach series, your spine should be in the same shape. So
Roll like a ball.
so here she is now in her rolling like a ball. So now she's going to go into double leg stretch. So she's going to inhale, the limbs basically stretch out from center. She exhales to invite the limbs back in. She inhales to inflate, exhales first to invite the legs back in. So now the beauty of the inhale is to counterbalance the legs extending out. And so the timing of the breath and the capacity in the lungs and in the ribs is what holds the weight of the legs out there. That's lovely.
Now, of course, you're new to this one, you can always just practice sending the arms and legs up and down, because it is more important that you have that ball shape in your spine than where those limbs go. Because as soon as you lose that ball shape, now you're out of your center and you're into your back.
Something that we see happening quite often is that people will take their arms too far behind them. And the arms going too far behind is actually inviting extension into the spine. And we're supposed to be in a flexion. So you have to be really cautious of how far back your arms go. They should actually not go behind you. They kind of are almost always in your periphery. I think it's like 170 degrees before it affects the shoulder girdle and then the spine. So just be aware of where your limbs are at and house them inside of you. Don't just throw them out. They can extend, but extend from a place of control.
For sure. Okay, happy practicing. And by the way, that's 5 of each. So you would do 5 sets of the single leg stretch, ultimately, and then 5 of double leg stretch. You do what you can do well.
Thanks for joining us.